excellence.
So back then, 4 years ago, right? You said 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And I told you to focus on one thing instead of spreading out, right?
Yeah.
But the nature of that conversation was this. When I hit the road, this is when I started, because when I went underground to survive, right? Because I was in Chicago and I with my friend Octal, and I knew all the gangsters used to come to my store. So I hit every major city from here to Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Like I started in all the black communities, right? From here to Chicago. And I go to the main stores and talk to them. And I did the same thing from here to Atlanta, hitting all the major cities, right? That's when I found out what the problem was. And that's what I told you about.
Yeah.
So we had these real fly, elaborate stores, you know? Fly stores, flyer than what I had, way flyer than what I had. But the ideas wasn't fly. You dig? Because what's fly is getting that money in the cash register.
Right.
You dig?
Absolutely.
So what they was focusing on was a fly store instead of how to make those garments fly out the door.
Okay, so Dap, let me ask you this right here. To that point that you just mentioned, right? Do that have something to do with being in tune with your customer, being in tune with your demographic, knowing exactly who you're trying to sell to instead of being in your own creative head?
It has to do with knowing who you're selling to. But what I did was...
Yo, what's good? Listen up. We've got an exclusive drop just for you. Introducing the Anna's Cream Tea. You know, the one and only Alonzo Jackson right here on Ghetto Runways. And guess what? Just for our Ghetto Runway viewers, you can snag 15% off this fire tea. Go head over to fashiongeekclothing.com and use the code GR-15 at checkout so you can get that 15% off. But don't sleep on this deal. This offer is only good until April 1st, so when we sell out of all these pieces, and trust me, they're moving fast. Limited supply, limited time. Don't miss your chance to rock the Anna Cream Tea before it's gone for good. Go cop yours now. Let's get back to this Dapper Dan.
I projected where they needed to go.
Okay.
So when the guys, when the gangsters came to me, you know what I mean? I see how they want to look, and I told them how to fashion that look. So that's how I end up with all the rappers. You dig what I'm saying?
Definitely.
I see where they want to go, and I show them how to get there.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I'm saying? But when you come in, when you see young guys used to come in, but I pay close attention to?
What's that?
Whoever their stylist was. The stylist back then was their friend.
So they did have stylists back then, sort of like they...
But they didn't have a title.
Okay.
They was their homeboy.
Right.
And whatever their homeboy said was fly, that's what they thought was fly.
Right.
So you couldn't even sell to the main guy.
Right.
So when they came in with their homeboy, I said, okay, this is the one who's influencing him. So I sell him my ideas. You dig?
Exactly.
So that, because the homeboy always, it's his job to impress the boss.
Yeah.
Okay.
You dig?
Yeah.
And so he got to come up with these ideas. So I have him work through the idea. But there's exceptions. There's rare exceptions to that rule. Pretty Boy Floyd is one of those exceptions.
Yeah.
He ain't need no side man. He always knew what he wanted to sell. He said, Dap, this is what I want to look like. Work this out for me.
Yeah.
But that's the key component. So it ain't like you go in the hood and ask with the hood what they want. You go in the hood and see how they dress it and show them how to take that to the next step.
So, yeah, no, 100%. That's
You dig?
again what we was talking about with Ghetto Runways, because we start with the street, but we've done our homework. We know what's going on with fashion. Let's bring our guys up, but still keep them in their comfort zone. You know what I'm saying? Where we're not going too far. We may go far, but we just gonna ease them. Right. You know what I'm saying? Just slowly. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm glad you said that, because we talk about this all the time with what we supposed to do and what gets the register going. You know what I'm saying? And often, like you said, stores and these layouts and these photo shoots, all of it is a look, but it ain't resonating because ain't nobody buying it. You know what I'm saying? You was more so like, yo, let's get the paper, man. Like, that's the most important thing. Like, just speak on that a little bit more. You know what I mean?
What's most important? You know, people need to look at what is it that I did. Like I can't say this enough. If you understand the flower, study the seed. What is it that Dapper Dan did? You know what I did, man? I use innovation. So I would go to a store and walk through that whole store, looking at all the embellishments on all the garments, and I have them say, how's this made or how's that made? And if they didn't know, the salesperson didn't know, then I go find out, right? So let me tell you how important this is. So when you know everything about all the garments and how they're made and the equipment and stuff that they use to make them, now when you go back to the street, right, the street don't know about all of that.
Right.
So when you talking to the street and they got this look in the street, now because you got knowledge on how a garment is made and the way it could be made and the latest technology, now you can point out something new to them. You know, so when I started out, I looked around and said, damn, Gucci, Louis, and none of them was printing on leather.
It was usually canvas. I tell
You
people all the
did?
time, it was canvas.
Yeah. So I said, okay, I see what they doing. This is what I'm gonna do. I took it to another level.
Yeah.
So what I say to this, if you're coming from that level, first figure out what everybody else is doing. So, and then when you see what everybody else is doing, how can you elevate that? And then when you figure out a way to elevate that, you go to the streets and man, we can kill this like this. I can make this like this. Now you got something to show them that nobody else showed them, unless they did their homework.
Yeah.
Still, if they did their homework, they got to have the contact to the street like you. They have to have your creativity
Right.
and all of that, right? So I say all that to say this. What is the most important thing to you? It's technology, and that's going to leave us far behind. Let me elaborate. It's technology. When you see a creative artist, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who paints from canvas and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
you know, what's important to them? Their palette. You know, it's their palette. So what's important to us who make garments? Technology. Is how we use technology in a way it never been used before. So I never even went to a runway show till I got to deal with Gucci. That's the first time I went to in Italy. First runway. I didn't care about what somebody was walking down the runway with.
Yeah.
I want to know how shit was made.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
No.
that I can make it better than what they did.
Right.
So all I'm seeing is ideas. But I'm not seeing the creative energy that created the ideas. So all I went to was tech shows, and I bought textbooks. And so when I go to these tech shows, they got equipment. I see how they use equipment,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I say, no, I wouldn't do it like that.
Yeah.
I would do it like this.
Yeah.
So now your mind is opening up. That's one thing you need to do. But the second most important thing, I'm not going to put you on the spot by asking you this question. I'm just going to say it rhetorically and then answer it. What kept me relevant? And what did I made sure Gucci didn't take away from me? And that's this, my ability to be creative. You understand? So I had a collection with Gucci that went around the world. But still, they had to afford me the opportunity to create from where I am. If you want to stay relevant, you can't stay relevant unless you constantly embellishing your business with new ideas.
Right.
So this is why all black brands crashed. They came out with an idea. That idea made them popular. Once that idea diminished, they wasn't ready for what's next. You dig? So what I did was every rapper that came to me, I sit down and I kick it with them the way y'all kick it with them street guys. I say, man, let me hear your lyrics. What you think your look should be?
Right.
And we work on the look. So now I am as relevant as the rapper.
Yeah.
And you hear Puffy say, man, after my music stopped selling, my brand stopped selling.
Yeah.
So what we have to do to stay relevant is keep invigorating fashion through music.
Now, Dap, let me cut you off. So one thing that you mentioned before, and it was something that I read, was that early on the rappers couldn't afford you. right?
That's right.
The rappers couldn't afford you.
Couldn't afford me.
So
Only the gangsters.
Only the gangsters and the hustlers came through.
Yeah.
Right? So, and again, so with Ghetto Runways, I'm saying, we speak to that. We preach that the streets dictates fashion. It dictates where it's going to go. But what I love about your story is that you was from the streets.
Yeah.
First and foremost.
Yes.
You did this out of necessity.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You switched it up. You did it. You know what I'm saying? You switched it. You're like, okay, cool. I'm going to jump into this game right here.
That's right.
Right? How did it feel servicing those guys that you got away from?
The guys who I got away from? Meaning the guys who I used to hustle with?
Yeah.
Oh, man. What was the first thing I did? All right, I don't want to go into a long story, but I went to Africa, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You hear me talk about my father all the time. I'm always talking about my father. And what I noticed about the guys, when I changed my life, when I walked away from the drug drain, the street game, what I noticed the difference between me and them is work ethic. You did? See, when you're in the street, if you don't change your mentality, you ain't ready for business. Because the street is about fast money.
Right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when I walked away from the street, it had nothing to do with personality.
Right.
It had everything to do with work ethic.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? That's why you hear me say I was open 24 hours a day, 365 days a year for 10 years straight. It's the work ethic.
Exactly.
None of my friends was willing to put that in. So I ain't even have that problem. When they saw what I was doing, you know what I'm saying? I ain't have no problem with that.
Right. Exactly.
And they saw the energy and the amount of intensity that it required. I ain't have that problem. They just wanted to be like, I'm the only guy making clothes who wrote a book, and guys in Harlem say, they don't want you to know their business, right?
Right.
When you walk down the street with me, my book was coming out and said, they say, you know what they say? Dap, I better be up in that book. Because that's validation.
Right.
You hear all these rappers, and you find out that they wasn't even who they was.
Yeah.
But the rappers and the gangsters in Harlem, they know the story. That's why I don't leave it. They know the story. They know I was on the scene.
Exactly.
They know I was right in the mix.
Yeah.
They ain't no question. When the summer comes, you take them walks with me, they're gonna tell you, man.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too. Like I know, like shout out to my big homie Jay Boogie. He the same way. He only wanted to, not only, but he learned the back side of the game. We got all the machines. You know what I'm saying? All the just the textile stuff. Let me ask you this, because I read this. At a time you had 23 sewers?
23, 12 in the day, 11 at night.
What was 23 sewers doing? Like it was just.
It took 23 because I got we're making one of a kinds.
Right.
Yeah.
You
Right.
dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you got to put 2 on this one, 2 on that one.
And then the turnaround.
Yeah.
I
that's
read
the
where
only
you
way.
said the guys wanted, the reason you was open 24/7,
Yeah.
because the guys wanted it that night.
You could get something turned around that night if you wanted to.
Yeah. So I had this thing called punk out.
Okay.
Yeah, punk out, right?
Right.
So when the homies making the money, they
Yeah.
say, Dap, I want to go to this joint tonight, man. I got to have a fly outfit for this tonight.
Yeah.
You dig? I said, well, we do punk out. Whatever that outfit costs, like if it costs $5,000 normally, right? And you want to do punk out, you got to pay me 10.
10, yeah.
You dig?
Yeah.
But I got to have it ready by the night, because if I don't, when I do get it ready, you get it for free. That was punk out.
No.
So that's why I needed so many tailors.
Yeah.
I only lost that bet one time.
I was just about to ask you how many times you
I
lost.
only
Just
lost
one
that
time?
bet one time.
Just
Okay.
one time.
One time.
Wow.
That question. LL Cool J or Diane Dixon?
What about them?
Which one took it to the, so which one took it there?
You missed it. You missed the most important one.
Which one?
Mike Tyson.
Mike
I was
took it
about to
there?
say, that's what I
Mike
thought
took-
it was. It was Mike.
Okay,
Mike got me
took it.
rated.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Mike
Yeah.
got me rated, not intentionally.
Because of the fight?
Yeah, because Mike took me global.
Okay.
When Mike had that fight in the store with Mitch Green,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So like everybody like to come in the hood, and because they see all the young guys in the hood around the store, all the young kids, in the hood look up to me. We had these young kids in the hood on Park Avenue, not too far from here, called the Gremlins. And the Gremlins are a bunch of wild kids. They was like 11, 12, 13. But they was running all the drug dealers and the prostitutes off Park Avenue. Mitch Green used to be up under there. It's said that he was a one-hole pimp.
Yeah.
That's what it said.
Right.
They alleged he was one whole pimp. You
Yeah,
dig?
one of
That's what the young kids told me. You know, I ain't.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So they was teasing Mitch Green about the fight and all that, and they told him, "Yeah, Mike Tyson kick your ass," and he over at Dapper Dan's store. I'm waiting for Mike. It's 2:30 in the morning, but I said, "Man, I'm gonna leave the Africans here. You might come." So Mike came after that, and when he came, the kids say, "Mike Tyson is over there now," and he came over there, and that's when all that broke out. All right, that fight broke out Monday morning. Remember, we used to have Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
I saw it in the newspaper in Chicago. We saw it.
But this is the big thing. They thought it was a joke when they was saying it, even though it was real. But they turned it Monday night. You know how they broadcast from the air at the football game.
Yeah.
So they laughing about Dapper Dan 24-hour boutique over there, Mike Tyson, and they laughing about it.
Yeah.
You know, my landlord said, "Damn, how did you pay for that publicity?" So you did.
Wow.
Monday, you know how big Monday Night Football was?
Yes.
Absolutely.
So it just took off from there.
Okay.
Wow.
So it wasn't LL Cool J.
Right.
It wasn't Diane Dixon. It was
Okay.
Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson and Mitch Green.
Yeah,
What-
and then you
what-
got to
that
remember,
makes sense.
and then Pretty Boy Floyd.
Yeah.
Every fight that Pretty Boy Floyd fought, except
Yeah.
for the last one, I made all his outfits. Then when you went to see Pretty Boy Floyd in Las Vegas, he had a display from the time you come in and you walk by all the outfits that I made for him throughout the
Oh,
years.
dope. Yeah, you gotta.
So,
get-
you know,
you gotta get
why
the
did they
sound.
want me to make it? One, for my creativity. But prior to that was because my connection to the street.
Yeah. Right.
You know, and why did the street love me? Because I was from the street.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of dudes used to come because it's generation. I'm 80, so it's generation. You know, I got 3 brothers older than me and 2 more cousins living my older than them. So we span generation. And my father was the only one in my family out of all of us, all these males.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there wasn't a hustler,
Mm.
a straight up hustler. Yeah, poker, yeah. But anyway, it's that connectivity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And but then is that objectivity because I'm witnessing all of this, and not only that, I'm passing through musical genres.
Yeah.
So when you look at all my family, my mother starts out, you know, with gospel. You know what I'm saying? My brother's with jazz. My other brother's with rock and roll. I come along, I'm on an Afro-Cuban kick. So
Yeah.
all this music, this is how I learned about this relationship between music and fashion. Because I'm a descendant of all this culture. And because I got older brothers, all their friends is my friend. Yo, Daddy boy, come on, go with me. I take walks and I learn all of that.
Yeah.
So,
But anyway.
so Dap, I caught something. I don't mean, you know, I was eavesdropping on a little convo zone. And we was talking to the guys about zoot suits, right? I had made a comment about the Met Gala
Okay.
coming up. You know what I'm saying? May 1st. I mean, no, first Monday in May, as we know, right?
Yeah.
And what the theme is this year.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I want to see how many zoot suits we're going to see. Now, sometimes we put a negative connotation towards that. Some people who don't necessarily know. But I heard you speaking about the zoot suit and its elevation in its origin.
That's right. That's right.
Speak on that.
Yeah, if you don't know about the zoot suit, you don't know about fashion. Now, black fashion,
Right.
you definitely don't know about black fashion. You have to know, that's why homework is important. So for me to know about fashion, I had to study the roots of fashion. And at what point did we make that inroad? You know, and so when I went all the way back, I found out that the first powerful impact we had on fashion was the zoot suit. You know, that was the main connection between music and fashion, the zoot suit. Now, I want y'all all listening to go online. And the first music video is about the zoot suit. And you go online and you look at it. It's a movie called Zoot Suits, you know, with Dorothy Dandism and the old, you know, early jazz players. And it's all about the zoot suits. And you see the zoot suit. I mean, there's songs about it. You know what I mean? You see the zoot suits and dancing. So I did all that homework. And so I know how important the zoot suit is. But more important than anything else, the zoot suits is the first thing we created that the Filipinos started wearing behind us. The Italians started wearing behind us. The Latinos started wearing behind us. And the zoot suits had an impact in England on the Teddy Boys. The
Yeah.
Teddy Boys in England, it had a, so I looked at all of that in my studying of how this game evolved.
Mm-hmm.
So the most important garment that would define how people wanted to say the dandy
I was going to ask about the dandy.
would be the zoot suits.
Okay.
But now, here's where is a little twist.
Okay.
Right? When you study the dandy, you have to study the history of the word dandy, right? It evolved from Beau Brummel. Beau Brummel at the turn of the 18th century, 19th century, right? He is the one that diverted fashion from the typical European fashion, you know, to a more conservative level. You know what I'm saying? A more conservative level. So he actually made what the Europeans was wearing, you know, the kings and the knights and the aristocracy, the royal ones. He took that more conservative level because Beau Brummel is responsible for pants. You see in them old videos, you see them wearing them leggings.
Okay.
Beau Brummel is the ones who changed it to pants.
Okay.
Right? Not only that, he quieted down the colors. So the thing is this, if they say dandy, and that dandyism associated with Beau Brummel, it would be more conservative. But actually, they had the aristocracy, they was wearing them wigs, them white wigs, and he calmed that down. Beau Brummel calmed it all down. But actually, if you read the book, because the book is based on, the show is based on Monica Miller's, you know, her study on Black dandyism. But she's saying, and everybody need to be paying close, she's saying from slave to dandy. So she's categorizing it as when white folks dressed us up and made us dandy, and then how it evolved to our own dandyism. You follow what I'm saying? Yeah. But what I like to do, draw the comparison, if you look at it, right? Before Beau Brummel, how did they dress? They had another style. This is gonna blow your mind too. They had another style, right? So you had the Europeans, aristocracy, wearing them tights and them wigs and all that. But that was the norm. But even among them, they had some who went overboard with that, right? And guess what they was called? It's gonna blow your mind. Macaronis. They were called macaronis. Yeah. And so where did that name macaroni come from? It came from the European middle-class boys who could travel around Europe, and they went into Italy and they was fond of macaroni, and they started getting the name the macaroni. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and the macaroni was in European fashion during that era, was those who even took it higher than that. So when you look at European fashion during that time, they was more feminine looking, right? And then the other ones was normal feminine looking. And then Beau Brummel came along and took it down and made it more conservative. So when people talk about the zoot suit and they talk about us, you know what I'm saying? We're more macaroni than we are dandy. Okay. Yeah. You know, but I ain't gonna push that out there. I don't want to kill it.
Yeah. Is that where we get macaroni from? Well, is that where we get the mac from?
No. I first heard that word macaroni from the pimps that came from Chicago,
Me
Detroit.
too. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I don't know. It probably spanned time.
Okay.
You know, but it was very popular saying back then. You know what I mean? So maybe a white guy said it to her, or a black guy who was in Europe, you know, during that period of time, called it macaroni. And it just sometimes there's a denotative and a connotative word. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at it denotatively, and you go all the way back, that's where it go to. But with the connotation law, it's like, you're a Mac man, you're ready to put that hoe to work.
Right, exactly.
Now, let me ask you this, Dap.
Yeah.
Like I said, we spoke off camera like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I did a panel with you in Atlanta. I was honored to be on a panel with you in Atlanta because we was just there. We just got a lot of game from you. And you spoke on the retail then. But even to fast forward, what was it, 2017 or 2018, when Gucci gave you just what year was that? Was it 2017? 2017 when Gucci gave you a shot, and it was caused because of social media just losing their mind. And that was a good thing. You know what I'm saying? I want you to speak on that. But one of the things that I got from that you said, we were all going talking about cancel, you know what I'm saying? Oh, and you had to shut us down and let us know, like, nah, we going about it wrong. Can you
Damn
speak
sure.
on it? You know what I'm saying?
That killed us, man.
Yeah.
To this day, I'm so fucking mad about that, man.
Yeah.
You know, these fake ass revolutionaries. Forgive me, man.
No.
Young people don't do their homework, man.
Yeah. That's why I
They
asked
don't
you.
do their homework,
Yeah.
and they influence the game. They crippled our game.
Yeah.
Your game, my game.
Yeah.
They crippled our game.
I
Yeah.
sell Gucci.
Focusing on their game. They
Yeah.
trying to get followers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we try to create a fashion industry.
Right.
You know, they hurt us, man.
Yeah.
We're hurting from that today.
Yeah.
We're suffering. And now with DEI, you understand? It's even worse.
Yeah.
You know, we opened that door. They didn't do that. We
Yeah.
did that with hard work.
Nah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, Dap, so to his point, to Zoe's point, the same thing we're talking about. Speak on the conversation you had with Alessandro Michelle about the blackface.
Yeah. So let me tell you, let's just talk about what blackface is about. And I talk about this in certain arguments. Why did he do blackface? What's so obvious, man? You know, white folks, like all folks, they like money.
Mm-hmm.
They ain't, man. You ask the white folks, you know, would you cuss out a black man if he was spending money with you? What do you think he's gonna say? Hell no.
Right.
So why do these people think that they intentionally made a blackface?
I asked myself that same question. I'm like,
Why would they
y'all
intentionally?
don't think they did this to shun us in some way?
Yeah, but we had like these, like you said, these fake revolutionaries that don't study the game.
Yeah.
It made us feel bad for even participating in that game. That's why it was a big deal when you came out and was like, yo, y'all fucking it up. Y'all don't know what's going on. Y'all don't know what y'all talking about. You know what I'm saying? That's why I couldn't. This was the most important question I wanted to ask because I felt like it was missed.
Yeah.
I listened to what you were saying, but it was a lot of people against it. Like they always talking about, even with us, they tell us just what we need. 2 more black dudes talking about European culture.
Right.
You know, they
Yeah.
dog us, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, I'm
Not
proud of
understanding
y'all
what it
too.
is.
I'm proud of y'all too because I want to see y'all champion the game and that's one of my biggest things. I'm glad to have y'all here today because I'm looking for young people like yourself that can champion the game, that can look at the depth of the game and analyze the game from the inside and not from the lames on the outside. You know what I'm saying? Not for them follower seekers,
Yeah,
but for people who really got to do the work and inside doing the work, man. So,
yeah.
Big shout out to both of y'all for that.
Oh,
But
man, we glad to
yeah.
be here, man. Like, let us know what you got going, man, that you need the people to know.
I need to talk about something else.
Go ahead. It's your floor.
What is the most important thing now? You know what that is?
What's that?
What did I have that we don't have today?
Hmm.
What made me great that I had that we don't have today? That's our problem. You know?
Answer.
Dap, you might have to answer, but
Yeah.
I know where you come from.
Yeah.
I know where
No.
you come from. So, but go ahead.
You got the influences.
Right.
They stole the game from us.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they stole on. Now, when I started out, it was a new musical genre. Bam!
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
A new artist coming up. Bam!
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Right when they coming up. And here I come with new ideas. So I got new ideas, we got new music, and we got new influences.
Yeah.
We got all 3 of the components that you can build a brand with. So look what they did. Look how they did it, right?
Yeah.
When I blew up, what was the first thing they did? The big change came when they woke up, when you saw my hero, guy called him a hero because he did it. Ralph Lipshit, you know who Ralph Lipshit
Ralph
is?
Lauren.
Absolutely.
Ralph Lauren.
Yeah.
When Ralph Lauren opened up Polo Sports,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And took the black model and put him in there,
Mm-hmm.
that was all we needed to know. You know what I'm saying? It's that the young white boys had adapted fashionably to our culture because of our artists.
Got it.
So what we had the influencers who were the artists. We had the new music, right? And then we had the creative ideas, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what they had to do, they had to shut me down, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's part 1. After they shut me down, look at Yo MTV Raps. Everything that I made during that period, they blurred it out. I'm the reason of the blur.
Wow. Didn't know that. Did
I'm the
not know
reason
that.
for the blur.
Did not know
Let me
that.
tell you, Ted Demme, who for Yo MTV Raps,
Yeah.
cool ass Jewish boy.
Mm-hmm.
He said, Dap, Whenever a rap come or anything exciting happens in the store, I'm bringing film team and we coming. Ted Demi came in and walked in and said, Dap, we got a problem. He said, they're not going to let me show what you make, otherwise they won't advertise with me. He said, we got to blow it out.
Wow.
Okay, part 1, run me underground. Part 2, they blow it out. Part 3, you ready for part 3?
Yeah.
Not Ralph Lauren, Tommy Hilfiger sent Andy Hilfiger to all the rap clubs giving out jackets. Hello.
Exactly. Exactly.
Hell the fuck no.
And I'm being
Dig this.
Yeah.
So that's part 3, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
All right, so they shut me down, made it so nothing I could be shown on TV, right?
Yeah, blowed you out.
What's missing now? The rappers.
The rappers.
They took them all.
They took them all.
They took them all. And that's the crisis today. That's why I tell all young people today, y'all have no platforms. So now you got to go up their staircase. And you hear me say all the time, I came up a black staircase.
Yeah.
Black ideas, black music,
Right.
black influences,
Right.
black production.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yes, sir.
But they crushed all of that. And so the young guy, people today in fashion, they don't have that elevation. So what they have to do, they have to try to find a way to filter themselves up through the brand. So they have to go up a white staircase. I went up a black staircase.
And the thing is, too, that there was no competition for what you was doing because those brands weren't making clothes.
Right.
So there was no competition. Now it's
But
everybody's doing it.
You mean the
Yeah,
European
yeah,
brands
but
weren't
you
making
know what the
clothes,
important
you
part is?
Yeah. The European brands that he was,
But-
the MCMs and
Right.
the Fendis and the.
But
you
you know what the biggest thing out of all this is?
Mhm.
It was through necessity they came at me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Their ideas and their brands was failing.
Right.
You know, the young Europeans was moving over to our music.
Right.
You know what I mean? So they didn't have a future generation to feed off.
Yeah.
You understand?
Definitely.
They didn't have a future generation to feed off. And then if you look at their numbers back then, you see it was collapsing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I invigorated my ideas of being the father of logomania in our music and the creativity that we put out there invigorated the music industry, invigorated the fashion industry all
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
So they needed to be able to control those two outlets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they took over the music industry, and whatever they deemed was gonna sell the most, killer music or whatever kind of music,
Mhm.
that's what they're gonna sell.
Yeah.
Then they took over the rap music and say, yeah, we got to get all the rappers. They got to wear our clothes. And so that's what happened. And then we went through a psychological bankruptcy because all those brands that came behind me didn't study the blueprint. And the blueprint is remain creative but put out a line at the same time.
Mm.
You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Keep it. I equate it to the Harlem River. I say, I grew up swimming in the Harlem River. We had to throw a popsicle in to see the current. You know, me and my friend Negrito, the Puerto Rican Negrito, Curtis, Herman, and them. Before we dive in that river, we wanted to. So this is the dock. Listen, back down there is the beach part.
Right.
We wanted to dive in here and come out there, but we had to know which way the current was going.
Right, it was
So
going
we
up
might
there,
have to dive in from that dock or this dock, but we want to come out over there. So I equate all of that with the Harlem River. So you throw a popsicle in, and you see which way the water's flowing. You know, so we lost that ability. So when them brands came out, they ain't paying attention to the river. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't know which way the current was going.
Mm.
All they know is where they jumped in at.
Mm.
And,
Do you think it was
and
ego?
so they drowned.
That, real quick, do you think it was ego? Because a lot of designers and creators want to be the ones that think that, hey, I did it this way. Yeah, everyone was going that way. But if I'm creating this wave, then people gonna jump on this. And it didn't happen.
Yeah, but see, what happened is there's always two competing forces. Ego and ignorance.
Mm.
And ignorance is way more powerful than the ego.
Definitely. Yeah.
Ignorance will kill your ass.
Yeah.
That's what happened. They died.
That's it.
Wow.
Hey, with that, man, listen, brother, it was a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thanks for allowing us to come to your home, man. You know,
Yeah.
look, we in Harlem.
Yeah, man. This is
I just-
amazing.
you know what? If I knew y'all came on this circumstance, was going to ask these questions, I'd have probably been more open to it. But there's a lot more we need to do, man. Okay? I want to give more example to you. We had some creative brothers, man, in Washington, D.C. Shout out to We Are One. Shout out to Madness Connection.
Yeah.
You know?
I know Madness.
And yeah, in D.C.
Yeah.
Them brothers was on.
Yeah.
What held them back? We need to study what held them back. You know
Okay.
what? You know what held them back?
What held me back?
Go-Go. It never took off.
Yeah.
After EU,
Yeah.
that was it.
That was it.
Yeah.
If Go-Go would have took off,
Yep.
DC would have took off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
DC was,
You
man,
see?
we talk about
Yeah.
this all the
So
time.
that's
Nah.
a lesson in itself on how you build.
Nah.
You know, because I used to go down there with Larry and Ed and them, you know, from
Yeah.
Madness Connection, and I used to hang out with Red Essence and all of them, and rapping Rodney from here was the first rapper in DC.
Yeah.
And I embraced myself into the culture. That's what we have to do.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we have to embrace ourselves into the culture. And let me tell you something. So I'm 80, right? Bust this. When we talk about age, there's three things involved in age, right? There's psychological age, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's physiological age, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's chronological age. The reason why you're going to see me with some energy, I always prepared myself to start all over again. You dig what I'm saying? Even when I was in my 50s and 60s, I was running 6 miles a day. So if you fall into that category of chronological age, you think the number of that person being on the planet for a certain amount of time is why he should look a certain way.
Exactly.
Right.
See, that's chronological age.
Mhm.
The other word, psychological age,
Mm-hmm.
is how you think about who you are.
Gotcha.
You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And as a man thinketh, so he
So
is.
he is.
You know? And so biological age is how old you really are.
Right.
So I paid attention to all three of them.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And I prepared myself to start all over again. I've always prepared myself to start all over. They broke me 3 times. They took everything. 3 times. That's why I stayed in the street. 3 times I had to go back on 125th Street with a table. And I went back. You know? Man, I was doing so bad at one time. Me and my baby's mama used to have to sleep in my brownstone that I bought.
Mhm.
All 3 of us in the bed together to keep warm because I couldn't even afford to have fuel in to keep the house warm. But I never gave up. And my conditioning and my mentality and my body was always ready. So what I'm saying is the most important thing you could do, man, is to study your body, study why you think the way you think, and ignore that clock that's on the wall.
Yeah.
Don't let that define you. You know? That's the most important thing. And to you rappers, let me explain something to y'all, man. Just to you rappers, man. I don't know when y'all got to the point where y'all don't think y'all owe us nothing, man. You know, I'm not going to go into what just recently happened, but we need to consider the fact that you built your platform off us. No matter who you're selling to now, man. You gotta take to heart how you got to where you got to. That's why I stay in Harlem. I'm never living in Harlem. You know what I mean? Don't wait till you have a problem, then come back. You know what I mean? Understand what you need to do to uplift the community. You guys have to find a way as influencers to funnel some of that influence to young designers coming up, or the game is over.
That's it.
I think we should leave it off like that, man.
That's it.
Dap accepted us, and now you know who we are. We be back for part 2, man. Let's leave it like that. Peace.